Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today we are talking about a story that's been all over the news.
Yeah,
You've probably seen it.
definitely.
That Delta Airlines flight coming in from Minneapolis to Toronto.
And I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, ended up in a pretty unexpected position at Pearson,
Yeah.
Flipped over on the tarmac.
Yeah. Wild.
It's crazy, right? That's like something you see in a movie.
Yeah. I mean, you never think that's...
Not something you see every day.
No.
But thankfully, early reports are saying no fatalities, which is incredible. But still, it's obviously a serious situation.
Absolutely.
And, raises a lot of questions. So we're here to try to unpack some of those questions.
Yeah, I think what jumps out at me immediately is just how fluid things are in these breaking news situations. We're always kind of bombarded with these initial reports, and they often turn out to be incomplete or sometimes even inaccurate. And I think this incident really highlights why we need to be really careful about jumping to conclusions too early and, just how difficult real-time reporting can be.
Yeah, I totally see what you mean. Like, it's hard not to want those instant updates.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're checking your phone every 2 minutes to see, like, what's the latest. But, and as we dig into the timeline a little bit here, it really is, like you said, kind of a cautionary tale unfolding.
Yeah.
Right? So first we just had word that there was a crash.
Right.
Then suddenly all these emergency responders are rushing to the scene. And then it becomes this scramble to figure out, how many people are actually hurt.
Yeah, and that's actually where things got really interesting. Initially, paramedics on the ground were reporting 1 critical injury and the 7 others with, kind of mild to moderate injuries.
Okay.
But then Orange Air Ambulance, they came out and reported 3 critically injured, including a child who was transported to sick kids.
Okay, so that's a pretty big difference.
It's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what happened there.
Yeah, what leads to these conflicting reports in the first place? Because it's not just about getting the numbers right.
Right.
This could have a real impact on the emergency response.
Absolutely.
And just the public's understanding of how serious this whole thing really is. Makes you wonder about communication between, these different first responders.
Yeah, for sure. Is there something that could be improved there?
I think it's probably a combination of factors. It's chaotic, in those initial moments.
Yeah.
Eyewitness accounts can vary wildly, and the information might be coming in from multiple sources, which, can definitely lead to inconsistencies.
Right.
And then you add on top of that the pressure to report quickly. And it's understandable how these inaccuracies can slip in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So amid all of this confusion, what can you tell us about the, kind of human side of the story? I know Premier Ford expressed relief that there were no deaths, which is obviously,
fantastic news. But still, it's hard not to think about those who were injured.
Right.
Especially the 3 in critical condition that you mentioned.
Right.
The young person.
Yeah.
The man in his 60s, the woman in her 40s, their lives are suddenly completely changed. And they're facing, a potentially really long road to recovery.
Yeah, it's important to remember that behind these statistics are real people with families and friends, and their lives are deeply affected by events like this. And, while we're focusing on the investigation and the why, we can't forget about, their stories and their journeys toward healing.
Yeah, it makes you think about what it must have been like for the passengers and crew in those moments. It's a sudden jolt.
Yeah.
Realizing something's terribly wrong.
Yeah.
That scramble for safety, it's a stark reminder of just how vulnerable we are, even with all the technology and all the safety measures in place.
You're right. It's a reminder of that vulnerability. And I think it speaks to a broader point. We've made air travel incredibly safe, but there are still risks, of course.
And that's why these investigations are so crucial. Understanding the cause, whether it was pilot error or mechanical failure or something else entirely, it's really how we learn and prevent future accidents.
Right. And I know the Transportation Safety Board of Canada is going to be all over this.
They're great.
They're going to be looking at everything.
Yeah.
Black box recordings, weather conditions, maintenance records. I mean, you name it.
It's going to be thorough.
Yeah, it's a meticulous process for sure. But that's how we make air travel safer.
Absolutely. And sometimes these investigations, they uncover things that go beyond, the initial obvious factors.
Right.
They might find systemic issues related to training procedures or air traffic control, even regulatory oversight.
Wow.
And those findings, they can lead to changes that make flying safer for everyone.
Right. So it's not just about reacting to these incidents. but it's about being proactive,
Right.
identifying these potential risks, and mitigating them before they even become a problem. Exactly. It's a shared responsibility. Airlines, regulators, manufacturers, even passengers. We all play a role in, maintaining this culture of safety in aviation.
So as we wait for this investigation to play out,
Yeah.
it definitely leaves us with a lot to think about. We have these immediate details, but the real why
Right.
is still out there. Makes me think about all those factors that could contribute to an accident beyond, just pilot error or mechanical issues.
Yeah.
What about things like pilot fatigue or breakdowns in communication or even the increasing pressure on these airlines to keep these really tight schedules?
That's a fantastic point, and it leads to a really important question for everyone listening. Beyond those obvious factors, what else might contribute to these accidents? And how can we address those to make air travel even safer? It's a complex challenge. It requires constant innovation collaboration and a commitment to learning from every single incident, no matter how small it seems.